There is a scripture that talks about we overcome by the sharing of our testimonies. And so that really holds true in the Black community especially.
My life is a shining example of the power of community, and I want everyone to know that they have the ability to save someone the way that they've saved me.
Are you ready to have the real conversations?
Regardless of stigma, regardless of title or position, everyone's looking for just a little bit of help and a little bit of relief. Particularly our men of color.
We've got to understand the populations that we serve and understand where they're receiving not only services, but who are the trusted resources within the communities that they interact with.
The ones that will make you uncomfortable and accountable, but perhaps change this nation?
Knowledge is power, and we really want to empower neighborhoods and empower communities.
In the African American community, talking and being vulnerable and exposing yourself to even tell someone that you have an issue, it's unacceptable, it's frowned upon.
That's why I think something like this is so important, because it creates an environment where men, specifically Black men, can say, okay, this is a safe space. Hey bro, I need to talk to you about some stuff.
Welcome to The Conversation. I'm Matt Barnes.
And I'm Jennifer Bullock. We are always excited to bring you really important topics here on The Conversation, but this installment just a little bit different, because this time around we are focusing specifically on health.
It's oh so important, isn't it? You know, we've made strides in recent decades to help improve the lives of Black men, women, and children. But there's still so much more work that needs to be done. We're talking the high rates of diabetes and strokes and blood pressure. It's all so much higher when it comes to Black people when it does compared to white people.
Yeah, so today we're going to be sharing some of our stories. Specifically, we're talking about breast cancer awareness, sickle cell awareness as well. But then we've got some broader topics like mental health, something that affects all of us across the board, but also really the need still for health equity. So we really hope that this program is going to encourage you to take a look at your own personal health, but also the health of those around you.
And it comes at just the absolutely perfect time, doesn't it? Because this Saturday it's the African American Male Wellness Walk, an annual awareness campaign that addresses the needs for Black men to live longer from preventable diseases. And the heartbeat of each walk are those health screenings, bringing access to men in the community who may not be seeing a doctor regularly. Last year's event drew 20,000 people with more than 5,500 health screenings. And this year's event, we all hope, will be even bigger. So we'll be walking this Saturday, August 13th at Livingston Park, and we hope to see you there as well.
August is National Minority Donor Awareness Month, and according to Lifeline of Ohio, Black people are 3 times more likely to need a life-saving transplant than any other group. Jermaine Harris is one of them.
Jermaine Harris grew up in Linden, the second oldest in a blended family. Now he's 29 years old, a chef, entrepreneur, and husband. He's also waiting for a new heart. It all started, Jermaine says, about 6 years ago.
Started noticing I was wheezing a little bit. I was a little more tired than normal, but I just kind of brushed it off.
In the weeks that followed, though, Jermaine could no longer ignore what he was feeling. He couldn't sleep. His legs and feet began to swell. He couldn't even put on his shoes. He knew then he needed help and drove himself to the hospital.
Next morning is where I met my cardiologist, and he told me I had congestive heart failure.
He immediately started taking medication, doing cardiac rehab, and donning a wearable defibrillator. And over time, things improved. Jermaine's heart was stronger. He started a new job at a local restaurant. Life was good, or at least manageable, until a busy day at work one Tuesday afternoon.
I had a panic attack, and then from that day, nothing was the same.
The pain and sleepless nights returned. For months, Jermaine was in and out of the hospital, eventually admitted to the ICU. And with no signs of improvement, he was flown to the Cleveland Clinic, where he was fitted with an LVAD, left ventricular assist device.
My heart is still beating at about 10%, so the LVAD is very necessary for me.
And will be necessary until Jermaine gets the call that the wait for a new heart is over.
I am optimistic. I hope it comes sooner than later, but again, I would rather be living with the LVAD healthy than not be healthy and wait.
And Jermaine isn't the only one waiting.
There are over 100,000 people waiting for a life-saving transplant.
And according to Demia Kandai, senior diversity consultant for Lifeline of Ohio, Jermaine isn't the only person of color who's waiting.
The African American population is about 13%. more than 33% make up the kidney transplant waiting list.
But while so many minorities wait, Candace says there are few who are registered to be organ donors.
There's so many misconceptions that prevent us from helping to save lives. People think that if they see that on my driver's license, they won't fight to save my life. Also, people think they're too old. And we have our eldest donor, I believe, in their 90s.
Which is why, Candace says, education through outreach and sharing real-life stories like Jermaine's is vital.
Everything else we say, everything else we do is based on those waiting and those who will die if they don't receive. There is a scripture that talks about we overcome by the sharing of our testimonies. And so that really holds true in the Black community especially. They can read it, they can watch it, but when they hear it for us, by us, it is more impactful.
So one of the things that really stuck out to me when I was speaking with Jermaine is the fact that he said, I kind of brushed things off. I ignored the signs that my body was giving me. So he's really encouraging people to take charge of their own health, to be your own advocate, to speak up, but also to do the research, especially when it comes to organ donation. As we heard, there are a lot of misconceptions, a lot of reasons why people think they're not eligible, but you could really change someone's life.
It's one of those things, it's a very selfless act, and most of the time it happens after you die.
Yes.
But too often we don't think about it as you sign up right there at the BMV, right? You can do an organ donor. Oh no, I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah.
It can save a lot of lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to Jermaine's point about, sometimes Black men are a little bit too proud of,
Yes.
I don't want to go to the doctor because of something I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Go.
And that's what he said. Sometimes we just don't want to hear what the results are. But if you don't know what the results are, it could be really detrimental to your
Correct.
overall health. And then, of course, that will affect all of the people around you. But Damia said one donor could save up to 8 lives.
That's a lot of lives.
That's a lot of lives, and that's a lot of really good and important work. So if you want more information, if you want that education, how to be a donor, what it all entails, just go to lifelineofohio.org, get all of that information there.
It's a great organization. Seriously, it's really, really necessary. From organ donation now to blood donation, and the need for blood donors is always important, but especially for minority donors. That's why the Red Cross Greater Columbus chapter is making a renewed push here to educate and inform the community about getting involved in this life-saving act. Habiba Bankston is a community advocate, mom, and executive director of Dress for Success Columbus. She's also living with sickle cell disease.
It's a pretty debilitating blood disorder, so it causes extreme pain within the body, extreme fatigue. It can also cause pneumonia. There's a number of things that are connected to sickle cell disease. I like to call it the gift that keeps on giving.
Since birth, Habiba was in and out of the hospital, managing the disease as best as possible. But when she turned 17, everything changed.
When I turned 17, I had a silent stroke, which is a very common complication for those living with sickle cell disease. That stroke started me on my journey of monthly blood transfusions, and it has decreased the chances of me having another stroke. It's helped me to manage my illness, and it's honestly given me a better quality of life as somebody who's living with sickle cell disease.
That's exactly why the American Red Cross is making a renewed push to recruit more blood donors, but more specifically, Black donors.
We are always asking for our community to donate. We're always looking for African American and Black individuals to donate so that we can meet the needs of sickle cell patients and other rare blood types that individuals may need because of their unique circumstances.
Having minority donors, it's essential to having a diverse blood supply. There are very specific things in our blood, phenotypes that are often very rare, that is required for individuals who are living with sickle cell disease. So when we say things like your blood has power, it's not just a saying, it truly is true. What we have in our blood is critical to the treatment of other people who look like us.
Earlier this year, the Red Cross started the Resilient Community Project, an effort aimed at getting community partners involved to help bridge racial, ethnic, and minority gaps in health status. Through community block parties, they are also getting the word out on being prepared for the unexpected, with focuses on CPR training and first aid demos.
Preparedness is a huge part of our mission. Kind of gets forgotten because we were more visible when it comes to being on the scene when a disaster strikes. But we spend a tremendous amount of time helping the community understand what it means to be prepared, what it means to prevent.
And that comes through education and awareness from the Red Cross, its partners, and advocates like Habiba.
So when you look at me and when you see everything that I have been able to do in the last 35 years, just know that You played a part in that. My life is a shining example of the power of community, and I want everyone to know that they have the ability to save someone the way that they've saved me.
And Habiba's story is so critical for everyone to hear, because that is someone that needs blood every month. Needs blood every month, and if that blood's not there, what happens, right?
Exactly.
It's always a critical need. They always tell us when it's really critical, but it's critical all the time.
Yeah.
And I know you are someone who has gotten a blood transfusion before.
Yeah, so this is a personal story to me. I mean, I had 5 units in one sitting, and then after my last pregnancy, I had 2 again. So it's something that you never know. At any moment, you may need it. And so if you can provide it for someone else, I mean, that's a great cycle to continue.
It really is. And it's one of those things where we need more minority donors, because blood can be so specific to certain people. It can be better for others and things like that. 13% of the population, as we heard in your story, are Black. 3% of them are donors.
Wow.
That's not enough.
Yeah.
So we need to up that number. The Red Cross is doing a great job with educating people, but still, get out there and donate. Learn if you are eligible, and if you can, please do. There's a blood drive just on August 20th coming up here. Big back-to-school event they're doing at Fort Hayes.
Yeah.
All the information at redcross.org. Go to that block party and go donate because they need them.
Yeah, the numbers is what we're really talking about here. And of course, current statistics show Black women are dying of breast cancer at alarming rates when you compare that to white women. Our Cynthia Hill spoke with women in Central Ohio who are working to close that gap.
Pink. It's the color of breast cancer awareness. It's worn on football fields and at benefits all over the country. However, harrowing death statistics reveal there are shades of the color. Awareness about the disease and its deadly nature vary depending on where you live and who you are. A 2017 study found African American women in Franklin County are dying at much higher rates than their white counterparts. Experts say it's largely because of a lack of resources.
Larger cancer centers and major academic institutions tend to be located in predominantly white neighborhoods, while Black communities tend to have tend to be supported by community clinics that may not meet the same quality standards of care.
Mayjay says while breast cancer mortality overall has declined in the last 33 years nationwide, Central Ohio's Black women are 33% more likely to die from the disease than white women. The study found there are 5 key zip codes on the hotspot list. That's North Linden, Whitehall, Northeast Columbus, Southeast Columbus, and Forest Park East Minerva Park. Valencia Mason is part of a group making the topic less taboo.
No one says, girl, I had a mammogram. They just kind of like keep that to themselves.
She says the biggest barriers Black women face when seeking treatment are lack of transportation and fear they'll face discrimination at healthcare facilities.
There are times where your doctor's not hearing you and or doctors are too busy, and there's a passerby comes in and they're just like, okay, like here's your treatment plan, here you go, and then they're out the door, and then our patients are left like, I don't know what's happening.
Her job is to rid the system of these issues, and since the start of the pandemic, she's helped more than 100 Black women in Central Ohio get adequate care. But there are other barriers. Experts say Black women tend to be diagnosed with more aggressive breast cancer and diagnosed at earlier years than the national average. This was the case for survivor Kyra Pruitt-White, who was diagnosed in 2009 at 42 years old. The national average is 62.
I was a single mother, working hard, trying to prove myself. Just got a promotion here at Value City, and I was scared to take off from work or didn't make time to take off of work to go get a mammogram. And in about time I did get there, I had triple negative stage 3C breast cancer.
She found a lump on a whim while doing chores at home. When she finally went to the hospital, she found out it had spread to under her arm. She says it was economic insecurity that kept her away from the doctor.
I was just financially scared, didn't know what I was going to do, 3 children, how I'm going to take care of stuff, how I'm going to pay my bills. You know, I was off from work for 1 year. And so my journey was pretty rough, but by the grace of God that I got through it.
Pruitt-White completed 7 months of chemo and 3 months of radiation to get where she is today, but not without support from coworkers, family, and even encouragement from a stranger when she was on the edge of giving up.
It was like an angel. This lady, someone else else was talking through her to tell me, because I never told this lady that I wasn't going back to treatment anymore. And I just looked at her and I cried and I cried. And I walked back out, went and sat in the car for a minute. Somebody had dropped me off. And I called the doctor back up and I said, I want to continue my treatment.
She's been a survivor for more than a decade now and always takes time to give back, now leading sign-up efforts at several mammogram buses across Central Ohio.
I am now 13 years cancer-free. I am so excited about that.
So Jen, all of these women have been affected by breast cancer in some other ways as well. Kyra, her cousin, had breast cancer at the same time that she did. Alencia's mother is a breast cancer survivor of 12 years, and Natasha's mother is a breast cancer survivor as well. So really, these are our mothers, our aunts, our sisters, you know, people really close to us, and even sometimes ourselves that are dealing with this. So really just an important topic to talk about and keep talking about.
And it really is. And as we heard, I mean, it's obvious breast cancer does not discriminate. So even though we are seeing numbers that are trending a little bit more toward Black women, especially in those zip codes that you mentioned, it can affect just about anybody. And like you mentioned, it could be right in our family. It could be ourselves at some point.
Absolutely. And Kyra, the survivor that we spoke to, my goodness, today is the day of her anniversary, her 13th anniversary. So just a wonderful person to speak with and a wonderful person to be able to share their story with all of the folks at home.
Of course, we have all of them in our thoughts and prayers and wish them the absolute best.
Let's switch gears now and talk about an issue, a forgotten issue when we mention health, and that's mental health. Before the pandemic, suicide was the second leading cause of death for Black teens and young adults. Jonathan Jackson is talking to groups who are guiding people to seek help.
It was never really a thing, really until I became an adult, to where we even had conversations around depression and anxiety and just stress.
Growing up, Keith Pickett says his life was pretty much focused on one thing: education. He was raised among a family of scholars and teachers, always working to better himself and others.
I come from the side of kind of each one teach one. And so I've always just believed in the more that I know, the more that I can give back.
But the pressure to succeed and always give of himself eventually took its toll. And Pickett says he had to take a step back and reevaluate things in his life once he became older.
There's things that I have to work through and things that I have to remember as a new father now, that I make sure that I'm not putting off on my daughter and that I'm not putting off on my wife.
And he's not alone in that struggle. According to the Department of Health and Human Services and Minority Health, Black adults are more likely to report symptoms of emotional distress than white adults, but are less likely to receive access to mental health care, an issue which the African American Male Wellness Agency is working to address.
Regardless of stigma, regardless of title or position, everyone's looking for just a little bit of help and a little bit of relief, particularly our men of color.
Scott Pierce has worked for over 20 years as a social worker and counselor, and now provides his services to the African American Male Wellness Agency. He said they've been reaching out to Columbus's Black community through events such as Real Men, Real Talk, an open gathering that allows Black men to share their mental health struggles without fear of judgment or being lectured to.
You most certainly can say, I don't have an answer for you, but I can tell you what not to do. And some of that is so important, again, from someone who looks like you and has walked in similar shoes.
And for Pickett, it's led to further interest in upholding his mental health, as well as bringing others into the conversation so that they don't have to go through it alone.
I go to therapy, I go to counseling. It may not be beneficial for you at this time. You may need to ease into it. And so it may start with talking to a trusted friend, maybe talking to a pastor, someone like that. And now you have options in front of you and you don't feel boxed in.
So basically, African American Male Wellness Agency is having another Real Men, Real Talk event coming up later this month, August 24th, from 6 to 8 o'clock over at the Linden Library.
And we know how important this is, because mental health just doesn't seem to get talked about enough, does it?
It doesn't not, and that's the big thing, talking about it, having somebody listen and, having that conversation. And I've been to one of these before. It's really great. It's impactful. And you walk away feeling, really empowered.
I always think, too, because, sometimes, we men, we sometimes just don't want to talk to someone, don't want to reach out when we have an issue because we think we can just fight through it. Do you see people being vulnerable at some of these things when they actually talk about their feelings and talk about what's bothering them, what they need to get support on in certain situations in?
You really do. And some men, like you said, it's hard to share that part of yourself, but you shouldn't feel afraid to do that. And that's what these events, teach people about and help them feel comfortable in doing so. And again, you're surrounded by other fellow black men, who are going through the same thing.
Yeah. They all kind of get off that crusty shell, everyone. We all got a soft center inside that we really need to make sure that we get support in with these really tough topics.
Even to this day, today, I'm still dealing with a lot of things that I don't necessarily have an answer for. I was told the true definition of a man was to never cry.
In the African American community, talking and being vulnerable and exposing yourself to even tell someone that you have an issue, it's unacceptable, it's frowned upon. What this would be considered as is a safe space, and it's not often that black men have a safe space where they can come and just hash things out.
We gotta bring those rugs and take the dirt out of those rugs.
It's really important that men understand that as far as our history and our track records of culture and conditioning and those levels of vulnerability, that it's important that we are not alone.
That's why I think something like this is so important, because it creates an environment where men, specifically black men, can say, okay, this is a safe space. Hey, bro, I need to talk to you about some stuff.
We now want to give you an update on our dear friend, Bob Nunnally.
Bob's been away from NBC4 for 8 months. He's battling cancer, but he stays in touch with us, and he's been reading his emails and letters from viewers. He just finished his first phase of chemotherapy.
And he is excited about that. Now, next up, he's not completely done yet. Bob says he's going to undergo radiation treatments and then surgery. But boy, we are thinking about you, Bob. We're praying for you. We absolutely love you. And I think I echo everyone here at NBC4 and all the viewers out there. We are wishing you the best.
While it's important to raise awareness of all these health issues, making sure health care is accessible, that remains a challenge in many communities. As Sierra Johnson learned, the issue of health equity and barriers in health care is something the CEO of Primary One Health is working to address, one person at a time.
For some, a job is simply that, a task one completes day in and day out. But for some, it's a passion.
Well, healthcare has always been a focus of mine since some of the issues that I've experienced as a young person.
CEO for Primary One Health, Charlita B. Tavares, has worn many hats in her lifetime, among them a legislative aide and member of the Columbus City Council. She says those moments and several others in her professional career, combined with those in her personal life, have prepared her for this point in time.
Whether it's the premature death of my dad at 48 or the developmental disabilities of my younger sister or suicide of my younger brother. Those issues impact you deeply.
It's that passion and life experience that has allowed her to understand the importance of health care and its connection to other life outcomes.
What we really learned is that what's called the social determinants of health have an 80% impact on health outcomes, and health care about 20% of the impact on health outcomes.
She says her team is well aware of those determinants of health, issues like housing, the environment, education, employment, and food insecurity. She says creating partnerships to address both the social and medical issues is a key to lifelong health and addressing health equity.
Equity doesn't mean equal, it means providing the services and care that's needed for this population in order to get them at the same health outcome as another.
So how does a group tackle such a complex issue? She says you meet the person where they are. And for children, that's simple, in local schools. She says beginning in 2023, there will be 2 student health centers operated by Primary One, the Global Academy on Morris Road within the Columbus City School District, and another, Groveport Madison's district. A former bus depot will house their center.
Vision screenings, oral health screenings, and making sure they get regular dental checkups, having the sealants put on their teeth so that they don't get cavities.
And this mission continues with other age groups, meeting populations disproportionately impacted by health issues where they are.
We've got to understand the populations that we serve and understand where they're receiving not only services, but who are the trusted resources within the communities that they interact with. I think health equity is not only possible, but it's achievable in a much shorter time. We just have to be intentional.
So I think the biggest takeaway is twofold. It's not only starting that approach early, getting to kids early, but also meeting people where they are, which kind of goes together. You're meeting the kids where they are, and then later in life, you're meeting the dads and the grandpas where they are, whether it's at the barber shop or whether it's at a fraternity meeting or church. So just, you have to find people where they are.
And I love that she said it has to be intentional on the part of cities, organizations, agencies to really reach out, to make that effort and say, we know that you are in need, and we know that health equity is just as much our responsibility as it is making sure that you get yourself checked out and yourself taken care of. So making sure that we meet each other in the same place, like you said, meet right where you are to make sure that people have what they need to live long, healthy lives.
And she was so optimistic, that last part where she mentioned it is achievable, that equity is achievable. And I think the approaches that they are taking, I mean, if they continue that way, it could be achievable. You're meeting folks where they are, you're passionate about what you're talking about, and you're also attacking things from a multi-pronged perspective. So not only having folks come in, but you're going to where they are, you're also offering an array of services. So, I mean, in their eyes, it's possible. So we're really going to wait and see at this point.
And it is possible, especially in this day and age. There's so much outreach, social media. You know, people are much more connected now than ever before. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the city, other agencies step up and really make sure that comes to fruition.
We're in a good direction.
Yeah.
Another reminder that the African American Male Wellness Walk is about 2.5 days away. We will be at Livingston Park on Saturday morning, starting at 7, to highlight the issue of health and wellness in the Black community. And it's not just a 5K either. Health screenings are available, hoping to catch some of the preventable diseases before it's too late. And it is a great family event. It is free, and it starts Saturday morning here in Columbus. If you've never been, please bring everyone out. It is such a great resource for our community to see all of those great organizations there ready to answer your questions, give you that health screening. And it's just a fun event. It feels like a family reunion sometimes.
It really does. And when you're surrounded by people who, you know, your friends, your family, other community members, really encouraging each other to make sure that you get your health checked, that you take care of yourself, but also the people around you, the people you love. And we talk about why we walk. A lot of families come to walk. You see little kids, you see babies, you see people, you know, in their 70s and 80s. It's because we want to live long, healthy lives.
Checking those numbers, getting those health screenings, and just having a good time being among family, because we need to set examples for everyone when it comes to staying healthy out there. We want to thank you for watching this health-focused edition of The Conversation.
And we hope to see you this Saturday at the African American Male Wellness Walk.